Earlier this week, my team talked to someone making $20,000 per month in their real estate photo business who has the goal of getting to $50,000 per month. And we're going to help them do that in our coaching program. But on this video, I wanted to break down exactly what we do and how we help a business go from 15, 20, 25K a month to 50K a month plus, and go from being a solo operator to having a team and their business running well. In fact, running better than when it was just a solo operator. Because there are a lot of people who feel stuck at the 20K per month range who want to grow their business. They just don't feel like it's going to be possible because their business is different, or their clients won't like it, or their market won't support it. And there's all these things that people believe are true about what's holding their photo business back. And most of the time that actually isn't the case. It's just a matter of knowing what to do. And so when I grew my photo business and scaled it from 20K to now well past 50K a month, I didn't have a great approach. I kind of just tested stuff and tried a bunch of different things and hoped that one day it would work out, and it did, but it took me way longer than it should have by like a factor of 5. And so the goal with this video is to show you how we now look at real estate photo businesses and how we know exactly what to do next to help them grow the most efficiently. That way you can model that and do the same for your business. So when it comes to scaling a business, it's not an accident. You need to follow a path and you need to know what to focus on, because ultimately, if you want to grow fast, there's always going to be a bottleneck or something holding back your business that, if you work on that thing specifically, will grow your business really fast. Because you can always work on everything, right? You can always get more clients. You can always have a better team. You can always be a better owner. You can always have better systems. But how do you know like which one to do and what order to get the fastest growth? Well, that's exactly why we have a framework that we use called COST. It's an acronym. It's 4 letters. It stands for, well, COST, but it's client, owner, systems, and team. It just happens that they flow nicely into one word that's easy to remember. And each of those 4 areas in your real estate photo business could be the bottleneck. And at different stages of your business growth will be the bottleneck. So clients, you can have too few clients, too many, the wrong type, whatever. Owner, that's a very common bottleneck at almost any stage, is like the things you believe or the things you don't believe, or maybe you're working too much, or maybe you're really stressed because your business is not peaceful and you're always feeling like you're firefighting. Like, you could be bottlenecking your business. S is for systems. So you could have no systems. You could have like way too many. You could be using something for invoicing and something for photo delivery and something for scheduling. It's just like, it's chaos and you're trying to keep it all together in your brain. Or maybe you have not enough systems or bad systems. You're not very efficient. Your business isn't very peaceful, whatever. A lot of that's a systems cause. Or T, team. Maybe you have too many people on your team, or not enough, or the wrong type, or they're paid the wrong way. Like, ultimately, all these things at some point will be the bottleneck. Our job and how we grow businesses quickly, help people grow their business quickly, is we say like, hey, what's the biggest one, and fix it. So that's exactly what we're going to do with this person. Now I'm going to give you some stats on their business, and they are okay with me sharing this. I already asked. They make 20K a month, roughly per month. They want to get to 50K. I already said that. They're working about 12 hours per day currently. And that's a lot. That's not really super sustainable. A lot of business owners, act like working that long is some sort of badge of honor. And I just think it's kind of a foolish way to build a business. And that's why a lot of people, they grind a ton and they build what to a lot of people is a successful business, 20K a month, but they're not able to get past that because they haven't realized that actually putting in all that work is just a Band-Aid that's not actually fixing the problem. So the person's working 12 hours a day. They're making 15K a month take home. So that's pretty good. They're making 20K in revenue and they're bringing home 15K. Pretty good. 75% profit margin, could be 80, 85, but not a big problem there. And then a big picture thing, fear that they have, is that their current market is a little bit smaller. It's between 80 and 100,000 in population. And so they're wondering, like, are they actually gonna be able to get to 50K in that market? And here's how we would approach this. We wouldn't even think about that last question now of whether they're gonna be able to get to 50K, because right now there's absolutely no way. And the problem is not the market. The problem is how they run their business. So said they're working 12 hours a day. So let's talk about that first. And then we're going to kind of take this and play it out all the way to 50K a month. Absolutely first step, once we do a cost audit on their business and determine what's going on, is we're going to fix the thing that's a bottleneck. And right off the bat, I can tell you that the 12 hours a day thing is a bottleneck. Could be a systems bottleneck, could be a team bottleneck. Either way, they're working way too much. So diving in, what we figured out is that it's a team's bottleneck. We need to hire someone immediately, but we're not hiring a photographer for their business. We're going to hire them a virtual assistant, because what happens is they're getting up at 7 a.m. They're already in a panic. They're already stressed, and we want to eliminate stress, but we want to eliminate stress by seeing where the stress is coming from, fixing that. So they get up and they're already behind for their day. They're trying to deliver photos. They're trying to, quality control, make everything good. They're going back and forth to the editor about missed virtual twilights or whether this floor plan's done, and they're checking cubic cost. Like, they're doing all this stuff, right? And Then they're trying to answer emails and make sure the shoots that came in, last night are booked properly and everything's good. And they're trying to make sure their day is good. And they basically rush from 7 to 9 a.m. And then he leaves his house, right? And so he's headed to the first shoot, which is typically at 10 a.m. That morning already created a lot of stress and didn't move the business forward. It just kept it operating. And so we're going to hire a VA that's going to do quality control and photo delivery. It's going to do retouch requests throughout the day. It's going to answer emails and answer texts and book shoots. Not any phone stuff, like verbally on the phone, but everything else this VA is going to do. And so now this photographer, instead of starting work at 7 in a rush, can be a little bit more peaceful in the morning, which is really important when it comes to growing a business. You need mental clarity to be able to make good decisions. Plus, it's nicer, right? You don't want to wake up like stressed every morning. So many real estate photo business owners that built wrong do. They're making good money, but they're stressed. So 7 to 9, we bought that time back. Now all this person has to do is wake up, they'll do a check-in with their VA, maybe have some breakfast, enjoy a coffee. It's important. And then they'll be able to go in their shoot, start their day, not feeling already behind. So they get to the first shoot. We just took off like 2 hours off their day, but we really want to get it from like 12 to 8. So we need to reduce 4. The other thing this person was doing, which maybe you can relate to, a lot of photo business owners do this. It's a nasty habit that's hard to get out of. But say you have a 40 photo package. It's really easy to just take 60 photos and deal with it later. So that's what this person's doing on average. They're shooting way more than they need to. So not only if they're doing 4 shoots a day and they're spending 20 minutes longer a shoot, does that add up to an extra hour right there? But they also get home and then they have to spend like 10, 20, 30 minutes sometimes just saying like, hey, should I delete this photo? Which photo should I delete? My photo business, where remember, we make way more than this person. And I'm not saying that as a flex. I'm saying that is if it can be done for us, it can be done for this person, it can be done for you. And so our photographers, at the end of the day, they get home and they drag and drop all their photos from the SD card straight to the editor's folder. There's no culling or deleting down. We're really focused about shooting what we need on site and leaving with just that. A lot of people say, Eli, what about, if you miss an angle and, you should have taken it, but you didn't because you're trying to shoot less. Yes, that will happen. But it is way less use of your time than always overshooting. So maybe every 25 shoots, you have to go do a reshoot, but that's better than spending 20 minutes at every shoot guaranteed. So it's just a leverage thing. You have to look and say like, hey, what can we reduce? And I just want to make a point here that one of the things people get worried about with scaling is that clients aren't going to like it, or they're not going to like that they had to bring people on or stuff like that. And that is absolutely true. If you scale wrong, if you bring on the wrong people, your customer service experience is going to drop. And that's when you'll hear a real estate agent say, hey, I used to use John for his photos, but it's just not been the same since he grew a team. That's not because he grew a team. That's because he didn't know how to grow a team and he grew the wrong team. Don't want that to happen for you. So every hire we make, we want to make sure that the company is getting better every time, that there's an increase in customer service. So this first hire we made, that virtual assistant that will cost about $1,000 a month, it just made it so you, the owner, are not stressed. So when you show up to shoots, you're going to be in a better mood. You're not going to be, halfway gone thinking about all the other stuff you got to fix. It also made response times faster throughout the day because that VA, instead of, this person, they're at a shoot, they get a text, they don't respond until after the shoot. That VA is going to jump on it immediately, get it answered. So we actually took workload off the owner's plate. We raised the customer service of the business at the same time. We did that all by spending, $750 or $1,000 a month, which I would argue we made back because now that owner has so much more time, they can do more shoots. This person's working 12 hours a day. A lot of times they're booked out more than 4 days, so they lose business over it all the time. Even if they don't notice, they lose business. So it's actually going to be a net increase on the business. So this person's going to make more money, have a better company, and work less already with just one move, which is the first hire. So then the next hire, and you can kind of see how this is probably going to go for each business. The next thing is going to be like, okay, well, we fixed that problem for now. Now the person's only working 8 hours. What's the next bottleneck? And well, we can't increase the business yet because we don't want to work back to 12 hours. So the bottleneck is still team. So then we need to hire a photographer, which if you do it right, your clients will love it because they're going to like working with that person who's probably going to actually be better than you if you train them well and you pick someone that just really loves shooting. My guess is if you're making 20K a month and you want to get to 50, you love the business side more, which is great. Different skill set though. So now we're going to bring on a photographer. We're going to go through a proper interview process. We're going to go from a lot of candidates to, weeding them down to one really good candidate. And the key here, the secret is if you're not so excited about someone joining your business, they're not the right hire. If you're like, we'll see. Like, you need to be like, I can't live without this person. I need to overpay them. Like that's how you want to feel about a candidate. And that's not the topic of this video. There's a very specific hiring process that I recommend that I'm not going to talk about here. I don't have time. So we're going to hire a photographer and we're going to start to buy that person's morning back, maybe a little bit of their afternoon. So right now they're doing 4 shoots a day. We're going to take those 4. We're going to take 2 and send them to this part-time photographer. Now this owner has their morning back. Now we go again, hey, what's the bottleneck? Well, we can fit in more shoots. So now the bottleneck is clients. Now we can start to address the question of, hey, is this market going to be big enough? And we're going to find that out. This owner is going to start doing brokerage presentations, start doing the Instagram method, maybe have the VA do a lot of those things for them, at least book them and do the Instagram method. And then we're going to see. And the great news is now that this person's time has been bought back, they're only shooting 2 houses a day. There are other photographers shooting 3 or 4. Their business is making more money. Their clients are happier because they have more availability. Now we can start to say, hey, what's the next step? And maybe the next step is realizing that this market of 100,000 people or 80 to 100,000 is not going to be enough. But because we have a team, that's not a problem. There's that market 2 hours away that has 600,000 people that we can hire a photographer in. Could have never serviced that if it was just this person, because they'd have to add to their already 12 hours a day schedule to drive and kind of plant the seeds there. That's not the way to do it. So that's how we're going to help this person scale their business. That's obviously a very high level view, but the main thing I wanted to show you is the cost acronym and how you can use that to dial in what to do next on your business. Because you can always work on clients, you can always work on owner, you can always work on systems, you can always work on team. Your job is to figure out which one of those is lacking the most, fix that, because that's going to be the biggest upside in your business. So hope this gives you a little bit of clarity on how we help people grow their real estate photo business. You can use these same tips for yours. And biggest piece of advice I have for you, just don't shoot in the dark. Have a plan for what you're doing. Make sure it makes sense. Make sure you're engineering your business, not just reacting to it, because that's going to help you build a much better business. And my other note is for everybody here that's watching this, that's doing 15, 20, 25K a month. If your business, doesn't feel peaceful, if you're stressed, if you have no idea where to grow it or what to do or what the next steps are, don't accept that as part of running a business. Sure, there's going to be some stress. There's going to be some times where you don't know for sure what to do next. If that's the normal, that doesn't have to be that way. Like, you need to take a step back and make good moves to grow your business forward, because you can absolutely grow a business that is awesome and that is the reason you started your business in the first place. Most people want more money and more freedom. Talk to a lot of business owners, maybe they have more money, but they have less freedom. And again, that's a trap of everybody's own making. It was a trap of my own making. It doesn't have to be. And I know that because I've helped a lot of people navigate that process. I also have a photo business that for the last, 3+ years, I haven't done anything for. I occasionally, will have a call with Trent, who currently runs my photo business, and before that, Jared, and give some tips. But I don't run payroll. I don't hire and fire. I don't manage the money. I don't do anything except take money from the business as a result of putting in that work and building a business that has the potential to run without me and has an awesome team in place. It's not about running without me. It's about the team that is in place. And all I'm saying is that you can build that for you. So I hope this video is helpful. If you want our help with doing that, if step-by-step working you through that cost acronym, that's exactly what our forward coaching program is for. You can find the link to talk with my team below. And if you're listening to this video because you're at zero and you want to have a 20K a month business in the future, the same advice applies. There's a strategy to do that, and there's a step-by-step process. And we'd love to dive into your market, answer your questions, and talk with you about what coaching could look like for you. So check the link below, and I'll see you in the next video.